Hi, my name is Paul Balog, and I'm an artist and art teacher, and this is some artwork that I've been working on for the last, actually 7 years. And these pieces here are kind of a culmination or kind of an offshoot of a series I've been doing with imagery from pop art magazines, popular science magazines, and it's a dollar sign. It's based on the dollar sign. And so what I've been doing is playing around with both in drawing and sculpture using this motif. It's just kind of scratching the surface, and I hope to do a lot more. But we're at the Hartford Artspace, and this is called the Art Mix Invitational. And we have here with 4 other great artists. And what I can say about the work is that it was an exciting departure for me, taking me back to the days when I used to come up with the exemplary models for my lessons, which was always a lot of fun, just working through variations on a theme. And in this case, it was the same theme. So I've gone back to some basic techniques such as rubbing, pastel rubbings over a form, and the form was a pattern of a dollar sign and a grid, which I'm also very fond of, is working with grids throughout my career. And then on top of that, working with acrylic inks, transparent inks, and the colors that you could see in the wall behind me, along with some digital prints that are painted over. And in this case, the sculpture is laser cut dollar signs on Luan plywood. And I enjoy the idea of warping them and turning them by cutting them and then sanding and re-gluing them after I beveled them. And this is just one iteration of that whole idea of these things being on almost like stems. But I have some other ideas. In the background there's another one that's kind of like juxtaposed dollar signs combined in almost like a Alexander Calder-like scenario. And I'm like behind me, I was talking about some of the collage and other elements that I worked through. So yeah, that's probably the way I hung them was out of necessity, where the show was coming up quickly, so I kind of hung them in a very light clamp. But I do like the way they kind of are very light. The wall, there's not a lot of other extraneous things going on. So this is all of these are on prints. And then what I do is either use magic markers or paint markers. In this case, acrylic paint. In this case here, I'm using collage. So the orange elements you see here are actually another print that I chopped up and then glued on top. And I'm playing with the idea of imagery in the background in this particular one. Those are some of the advertisements that I've grown very fond of working with throughout my career. I especially like the way on these particular ones that you really lose the grid. You really start to just get very free with it, and especially this one. And this one I worked with a little mylar stencil, so I was able to kind of work with that stencil technique, which is almost like folk art when you think about it. And allowed myself to really just kind of go crazy with the colors. And these I do in my basement studio, listening to music and just trying to relax and be playful. Again, another wonderful piece here with the dollar signs. I could take you over to the other wall and show you some of the first one that I did. So yeah, this was pretty much the premiere drawing in this series. And this is done with litho crayon. And so this was the first one, and then I started another one, and maybe I played with a different angle to it. And then it occurred to me that if I shift the paper and do multiples, I get this wonderful kind of effect with like a vibration of dollar signs. And some of these drawings, the dollar signs go in reverse, so that means I took the template, the tracing template, turned it over, so the dollar signs went in reverse. And this is kind of like near the end of the series where I kind of just went back in and put pressure on the crayon, and things came out really cool. So I call this series Sign, and the S is actually a dollar sign. Sign, black and white, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. I would like to show you some of my friends' work. This is Pierre Sylvain, and he does mosaic. He does a lot of things, but one of the things he's really focusing on lately is these incredible mosaic things going on. As you can see here, this is he's African. He's from Haiti, and he's also very much into the heroes of the African Americans history. This is one of our congressmen, John Lewis, portrait of John Lewis. And if you want to just come this way, this is Toussaint Louverture, and these are Frida Kahlo. And let me just point out in this particular one, this is a mixture of both mosaic and then felted material that you see here. And it's really something else. Look, if I can have you come this way. Now, we were all invited to the show by Cynthia Cooper, and here's her work here. She's an artist that I've admired very much over the years, Cynthia Cooper's pieces. These are some later works where she started to play around with the canvas. She was more rectangular canvases, but now, as you can see, she's starting to get into shaped canvases, very much like a Frank Stella of sorts. And as you move along, you can see that she really takes some chances with colors, and she has this wonderful curve that occurred to her back when she was working with these very strict grid things, almost like a Jennifer Bartlett, almost like a swimming pool tile. And a curve occurred to her, and it just took her off in this direction. And you can see there's just some wonderful colors going on everywhere in these paintings. In the middle of the, let me go with this thing here. You can see here, these little things going on are just precious. Now, this one we come closer to because Peggy Dembus's work is really labor intensive. She works a lot with beads and kind of beads put together in all these sort of wonderful patterns and designs. And it must be hours working. This is, besides beads, it looks like there's a fabric, like a burlap of sorts. But her themes are very light and popular, charming. And again, it's all put together with very small beads. And as you can see, her theme goes from kind of realistic to abstract. And I love this one. This is Band-Aids in a grid with some beads on top of it. Again. And in the middle of the floor, we have here.
So I think Cynthia already has the gallery. This is my personal one in my apartment.
Yeah.
So she already has the other two.
Okay, so the last artist that I want to talk about is Ruth Sachs' artwork. And, as you can see here, she deals with encaustic over some. She talked about dipping a balloon in warm wax as a starting point for some of these sculptures. So that's kind of fascinating. She's inspired by Niki St. Phal, who was an artist in Europe who came up with these incredibly playful sculptures and things that, as you can see right here. This is all encaustic wax and just very enjoyable. And besides, she does some wall pieces as well. But there we go. Thanks.